Its pristine waters are amongst the world's most beautiful. But could the island paradise of Turks and Caicos hold the answers to a long-standing Nazi mystery?
Magnetometer, ROV, you name it, it's in our bevy of electronic tricks.
Can a team of divers follow clues left by famous treasure seeker Roger Miklos to hunt and find a Nazi U-boat?
It's sitting in British waters in the Caribbean.
But you want to say exactly where?
No, I'm trying to keep that protected as much as I can.
A submarine he believes is full of gold and other priceless treasures.
There was 18 high-ranking Nazi officials on board. All them paintings, there's 50 tons of gold on that thing.
And what can their search reveal about the notorious Nazi regime and the end of World War II?
Code is cracked. We now have a location.
Tonight on History's Greatest Mysteries, we follow the trail of clues to search for the Nazis' top-secret lost U-boat and its astonishing contents, using original documents never seen by anyone other than Roger Miklos himself. A team of divers will attempt to unlock the mystery and find what many consider the most elusive shipwreck in history.
Guys, I think I got a hit.
I'm Lawrence Fishburne, and tonight, can Mike Fletcher finish the mission that Roger Miklos started so many years ago? Off the coast of Florida, and just 384 miles from Cuba, lay the islands of Turks and Caicos. Their beauty, color, and perfect weather makes these islands a destination for travelers worldwide. But looks can be deceiving. Under these turquoise waters, the terrain is jagged, unpredictable, and often deadly. And these islands are a graveyard of sunken vessels and lost treasure. And that's where Mike Fletcher comes in.
You name it, I've done it underwater. I started out with a passion for maritime history and specifically shipwrecks. And then when you combine that with my ability to dive in deep, difficult conditions, I got really good at finding shipwrecks. Out of the blue one day, I get a call from this guy I've never met. And he says, Mike, can we get you to go on a mission for us? Turns out that mission was following up on treasure hunter Roger Miklos' claim that he had found a U-boat full of Nazi treasure.
40 years ago, treasure hunter Roger Miklos claimed to have discovered a U-boat on the ocean floor off an island of Turks and Caicos. During World War II, Nazi U-boats terrorized the Atlantic, sinking over 2,500 ships.
Official Navy pictures of the smashing of a U-boat, supplies on the surface by carrier-based planes.
By the end of the war, the Allies had sunk over 600 of these German subs.
A direct hit from a depth charge, and another Nazi menace destroyed.
But the U-boat Roger Miklos claims to have found was not just any German sub. For decades, there had been rumors and stories that in the waning days of World War II, the Nazis built a fleet of 9 specially modified cargo subs to ferry looted gold, priceless artwork, and possibly even top Nazi officers to South America as they attempted to flee a crumbling Third Reich.
We do know that there's billions of dollars in looted personal possessions, gold, all sorts of valuable material that went missing during the war. It certainly made sense that some of this could have been loaded on U-boats to smuggle them out of Europe and into a safe haven.
Over the years, many U-boats have been discovered, but no one has yet found the specialized German subs. Until in 1981, Roger said he had discovered one of these subs.
They welded all the torpedo hatches up, removed all torpedoes for cargo, for all of the treasure.
If he was right, it would be among the greatest underwater finds in history. But Roger never told anyone where the U-boat was located. Then in 2018, he died suddenly of a heart attack, leaving behind only cryptic documents and incomplete clues as to where he found the U-boat. But now, Mike Fletcher has those documents. Miklos' family has hired Mike to continue Roger's mission, and they have turned all of his records over to Mike. It is the first time ever that anyone other than Roger Miklos has had access to these maps and records. Off the coast of Turks and Caicos, Mike, Sam, and Chris are taking a vital step in their search for a sunken Nazi U-boat when Sam gets some promising data from the magnetometer.
I think I got a hit.
What?
Check this out right now. Come on, quick.
Are you serious?
When you find something, when you get that hit, you can feel the excitement in everybody.
What do you got?
All right, check this out. So this is where it starts to drop on the clip a little bit, so we get a
Oh,
bit
yeah,
of noise.
there it is, there
and
it
then
is.
there's the classic S. Oh my God.
Okay, look where we are, too. This is pretty close to the
And-
location.
I think that could be it.
Getting a hit on the magnetometer, this means we've got an indication of metal. And it's exactly in the area where Roger tells us to look for the French frigate.
But a hit doesn't mean it's a submarine yet. Determining that will require eyes on the sea floor.
The magnetometer is not like a sonar or a camera. It doesn't draw you a picture. It's just going to give you an indication that there is something different than normal, and it happens to be metallic.
We don't know what's there. It could be an old car, a sunken ship that we're not looking for, and we got to find out what that iron is that's down there.
The next step is to put divers in the water.
If there's something big there, I'm ready to jump in and just swim down and see what it is.
Can you tuck that in too, Chris? Yeah.
I couldn't hold back Mike and Chris for a moment longer. Once we got that hit on the magnetometer, they needed to go in the water.
The magnetometer has given Chris and Mike the area to explore, but it's by no means precise. They have no idea what kind of terrain awaits them. Just because there is something metal down there doesn't mean it will be easy to find.
With the handheld metal detector, if there is something even as small as a paperclip, I'm going to know it's there even though I can't see it.
Then, something catches Mike's eye.
Okay, we're checking something out here.
Amazing. What do you got? Surface to Mike. Do you read? Over.
Sam, you've got something here.
Something.
Sam, you here?
Don't leave me hanging, Chris. The anticipation's killing me.
I picked up a trail of metal pieces. Getting another one. Oh. Sam, we've got something here. As we're following this metal trail, we come across a metal pipe flange. To me, this is a pressure fitting. This is exactly the kind of thing that you would use in the construction of a submarine. Most of the metal pieces are hard to identify, except for one piece. And that piece could be a very significant find. And it appears to be a flange or pressure fitting for a sub.
Sub-flanges are used to connect pipes, valves, and equipment to provide a pressurized seal. When compromised by a catastrophic disaster on board a U-boat sub, this would be the type of debris one would find.
We're finding these bits and pieces of iron that shouldn't be there. It could lead us to a shipwreck, but hopefully our U-boat. Scattered around.
Once Mike and Chris have documented their find, they begin to follow the trail of parts, hoping that it will lead to the missing U-boat.
The trail leads this way. The trail's leading over the cliff.
You can't even see the bottom.
So we followed the trail of bits and shards of metal until it disappeared into the abyss. Leads you to wonder, was there a U-boat here that just slid off the edge and dumped into the abyss?
When you look at the seabed, you can see a groove, almost a trough, that takes you all the way to the edge of the wall and then drops off into about 3,000 feet of water. Everything else is covered in coral. Everything else looks like you would expect. But this trough is kind of almost boat-shaped. You can imagine this U-boat sitting there on the edge, and over time, it's very likely that a storm could have pushed that off the edge down to 3,000 feet of water. We don't know. Roger talks about the sub being inside of a cave, or partially inside of a cave. But could that be Roger trying to throw us off the scent again? We need to find out.
For 40 years, the location of Roger Miklos' U-boat has remained a mystery. Now, Mike Fletcher is one step closer to solving that puzzle. And maybe someday soon, Roger's lifelong dream of raising his U-boat will finally be realized, and the world will discover what's really inside. I'm Lawrence Fishburne. Tune in next time for another installment of history's greatest mysteries.